Hey there, welcome. You're at the Thrifty Journal Shop. My name is Amber. If you are new here, hello. So happy you stopped by. For all of you guys that keep coming back, you guys are awesome. All right, today I've got 5 CareBear journals to share with you. Actually, 4 of them are available. One is already spoken for, but I'm going to still flip through that. So I will do the 4 that are available first. If you are interested in any of these journals, they are currently listed in my Etsy shop. I will leave the link in the description box down below. All right, I'm going to start with the 2 soft covered ones first. So I actually had 3, but this one is the one that's already reserved and spoken for. So the covers for these were made from some wallpaper, and then these little bears were part of some little softback. They were phonics reading books I found on eBay, and then I just cut the little bears out. This was part of the book, and then I've used parts of the book throughout these journals. So there is an eclectic mix of papers in here, and then there's CareBear book pages from the phonics books, from another little CareBear book, and then these 2 books. I've divided the papers in all of these journals. So there's just a mix of CareBear pages. All right, let's flip through this one first, the Good Luck Bear. These journals, these wallpaper ones are really nice and squishy. These are so fun. This is probably one of my favorite styles of journals to use and to make. The base is a paper sack, a recycled paper sack, and then I've covered it here with wallpaper. I love using wallpaper as a cover. It's just very versatile. The textured wallpaper is just so pretty. And then I've got a flexible spine that I made out of a file folder. And then for the inside of these, I just used some scrapbook paper. Let's go over the cover first here. So this is the Good Luck Bear, and then here's some painty paper in the background. Here's part of the book. Here is just a little fabric scrap heart, and I did some hand stitching, a bunch of different thrifted laces. Here's a little fabric scrap. This is some ribbon, and then that's the spine. They all have 2 signatures. And then I just added random scraps of fabric. There's lace here. So they're all going to have, like I said, a fabric scrapped pocket. This one's got a heart, and then I just hand stitched around it. Then I added a tag here, and all of this book belongs to, and that's just the stamp there. And I added this little whale tail that Madeline sent me from Madeline Diet Designs. And then just an eclectic mix of papers. I did add one of these garden pages, these thicker cardstock to all of them. And I attach it to scrapbook paper. They're all going to come with just a paper clip that I just attached either some lace or just a piece of fabric. This is from an embroidery book. I've added some of my own paper. This is some sprayed coffee or sprayed food coloring paper. There's another little whale tail. This is some writing paper. This is part of the phonics book. This is another CareBear page from one of the other hardcovers with some fabric. This is some Dollar Tree stationery. This atlas page. This is a little CareBear book that Madeline sent me. Thank you, Maddie. Some lace. And then I added some sort of envelope to all of these. I think the soft ones, I had some really cool kind of junk mail envelopes with color. And then in here, I'll just show you one of these, but they are all going to have somewhat of a similarity. You're all going to get a little bear, and these are also from Maddie. And then I found some really cool vintage. I mean, they're not vintage, but they do have the vintage CareBears from the 80s, which are some of my favorite CareBears. I did find some stickers. So you're going to have some stickers, a variety, and they're going to be tucked in the envelope. So lots of writing space in here, creative space, gluing space. And I really like this double-sided scrapbook paper. And then in all of these, I included some sort of cake decorating magazine page. Some of them might have bears, or they just might be cakes from the 80s. And then I added this little vintage, this is from a Southern Living cookbook. I just love all these flowers in this particular cookbook. So I added a sheet from that. This is the second signature. There's the spine through there. This is from a Betty Crocker vintage children's cookbook. I love this cookbook. It's got a lot of nice bright colors, some trim. This is from that embroidery book. I just think it's so pretty with all the colors. There's this textured wallpaper. This is some sprayed, like just some, I don't know, heavier weight kind of paper that I got thrifting. I sprayed it with food coloring. CareBear page. This is some paper I got from Happy Mail from Maddie. It's got some math on it. Cookbook page. Just some plain white paper. Sometimes it's nice to have some plain white paper. CareBear book. And this is some of the offcut of the paper that I lined here in the covers. A little fabric cluster. I added some Monopoly money to all of them. Another cookbook page, so pretty with all the colors. Some trim. So just a mix of papers. If you guys haven't seen the video, I'll link it below where I did. I participated in the Give Scrap Hop, and a lot of people participated in it, and it's just a way to recycle and use your scraps. And I made these bear pockets out of the bottom of a paper sack, and then I added my little stamped bears. Here's some buttons and a little heart, and then I just sewed around. And then in all of these, you're going to have some sort of vintage recipe card, and this is just some fun paper from the Dollar Tree. And then here is part of the phonics book, and I just cut out the back. This is from the back cover, and I just sewed this on some Dollar Tree paper. I just stamped "You Are My Sunshine," and then this is just some writing space. So you're all going to have some sort of journaling card, and then it's tucked here. There will be some sort of bear playing card, little tuck in all of these. And there's some scrapbook paper, and then here's a pocket I made from some vintage sheet and just some scraps. And then here's some painty paper. And they're all going to have one of these really just fun bags. These just kind of remind me of like the 80s when you went to sleepovers. I just love the blue and white and the stars. I think I got those at the Dollar Tree. And then just another little vintage book page is going to be tucked in there. So that is the back cover. And that's the back of that one. So that is the Good Luck Bear. So much color. I love these hearts. All right, now we've got, I guess this is CareBear. And CareBear has the lollipops on there. I put some music paper in the background. And then this is wallpaper, some lace. This is part of the book. A little fabric heart cluster. This too has 2 signatures. There's the back. Oh, I forgot to mention, this one has 22 pages in each signature, giving you 44 front and back. So you'll have a total of 88 pages front and back. And I don't know if I gave the dimensions here. Sorry, guys. I'm like out to lunch today. This is about a 9 1/4 by a 9 1/4. Okay. And this one is not as wide. This is about 8 3/4 by about 9 1/2. And this one also has, actually, this has a little less pages. This has 20 per signature, which is 40 front and backs, 80 front and backs. Okay. Same thing. There's your fabric pocket. And then here is your little tag. This book belongs to. Some sparkly Dollar Tree paper. And this is lined with the scrapbook paper also. There's the back cover with the vintage sheet and the scrapbook paper. Here's that heavier duty cardstock paper with the apples and some trim. Monopoly money. There's the paper clip. I just love this really pretty page from a cookbook with ice cream, and I added some yellow lace. CareBear page, wallpaper, CareBear, the sprayed, the food color sprayed paper, the atlas with the little fabric cluster, stationery. Here is this little cute CareBear book from Maddie. I just love that little book. Sprayed paper, Care Bears, wallpaper. So much space in here, guys. Just an eclectic mix of papers. I love these styles of journals. There's the little bear card, and then there is the vintage recipe card. Lots of color. This is some scrapbook paper, and then here is your vintage magazine page from the cake decorating book. And then just a Dollar Tree paper. Second signature, some really pretty wallpaper. And then I just sewed this onto this part of the double-sided scrapbook paper. And this is from the Dollar Tree. It was just one of those gratitude journals. So you could write here. This is from that embroidery book. I just thought it was pretty. Care Bears. I love this embroidery book. It's just such a cool book. Those jeans. So 70s. White paper, writing space. There's the Care Bear paper. There's the whale tail. So pretty, all those colors. And then here is that envelope. And then in there is all those stickers and little Care Bear. They're all tucked in there. There's this double-sided scrapbook paper. Here's your fun bag. And then that recipe page tucked in this nice pocket, some fabric. Here is the bear pocket with the buttons and the heart. And then I just added some scraps. These are just fun. This is just some scraps of my painty papers. I just love the colors, and you could make little tags or journaling cards out of those, or collage. And then there's just another sheet of Dollar Tree paper. So lots of fun, eclectic stuff. There is the journaling tag made from part of the book. Added some writing space. There is a vintage math book page. Okay. And that is that one. That will be the Share Bear. All right. And now I have these two. These are about the same size. These are about 11 inches by about 9. We'll do this one first. So this is Care Bears, the Baby Hugs Bear and Baby Tugs Bear Look and Find book. So there are 2 signatures in here, and each signature has 20 pages, front and back 40, total of 80 pages. These books were in really good condition. I got these off of eBay. The spine is made from some fabric from Maddie. I love this fabric. I just thought it went really well. It's a flexible spine here. I made the spine with some file folder. And then I always like to chain stitch it to the cover versus gluing it. So some of the similarities in these, however, I didn't cover, I didn't put any pockets. I didn't want to cover any of these sweet little bears. But I did add some really pretty trim. I love this trim I got. And so I just covered the chain stitch there with the yellow beautiful flowers. There is that garden page, the thicker one with some trim, that embroidery book with the owl. And there's just some really pretty trim there on a paper clip. Cluster with the cookbook page. So some similarities of papers in here. The sprayed coffee or sprayed food coloring, part of the original book page. And then here is this really shimmery envelope, and in all there is your stickers and the little Care Bear stationery, math book page, original book page. Here's some wallpaper, and then there is the bear pocket with the buttons and the heart. And then in here is the little tag. This book belongs to the little party bag and the cake decorating page. And that will all be tucked in this pocket. This is some sprayed, some food colored sprayed paper with some trim. And then here's just a part of a vintage sheet. And then I just made a little flip there with that. Love these flowers. So pretty. There's the Monopoly money, some trim, original book page, cookbook page. There's the embroidery page. There's the little whale tail. Then this is some really cool double-sided scrapbook paper. I love the colors. And then here's just part of the painty paper, the recipe card, and that page from the Southern Living Cookbook. So just some extras, just an eclectic mix of extras. This is the second signature, and here is part of that Betty Crocker Kids Cookbook. I just sewed it onto this scrapbook paper, original book page. So there is a little bit of a tuck there. You could tuck something in there. I love this music paper I sprayed with food coloring. There's some trim I added to the book page. That embroidery book. Isn't that so cool with the owls? Love 70s embroidery books. They're like some of my faves. Cookbook page, writing space. Then here's the fabric pocket. I added these to the page instead of adding them to the cover. And then in here is just some more painty paper on music paper, and then just a sheet of Dollar Tree paper. And this is part of an atlas page. Love the atlas pages because they're nice and thick and the colors are always so pretty. There's the middle of the signature. There's that CareBear page. Writing space. Here's the little bear tuck. And then there's the little journaling card with the writing space. The owls. All love the colors here. Okay, and that's the back with that little sweet baby Tugs bear. All right, and then that's the back of it. Once again, that's the spine. Okay, that is that one. Okay, and then the last one I have here, same thing, same size, 11 by 9, 2 signatures with a total of 80 pages, front and backs. I love this spine. Once again, some really pretty fabric from Miss Madeline. Okay, this is Care Bears Being Brave is Best. 2 signatures, and I chain stitched that. And then in this one, I added this pink and white trim. Love the inside of this book. So cute. So really good condition. I think these were 1980s, 83, 84 of some sorts. There is the garden page, so pretty with some trim there. Original book page. There's the little lace paper clip, the embroidery book, the atlas, the whale tail, writing space. Here's your fabric pocket. And then there is the, oh, and I didn't sew around this one. I will go back and sew around this. I glue everything on, but then sometimes I like to sew back around and make sure everything's locked tight on there. So I will do that. So this fabric pocket is really pretty with just a bunch of scraps of fabric and that trim. Here's your little party bag. And then your tag with the whale tail. And I'll make sure to sew that. In fact, let me mark the page there so I don't forget. Original book page, music sprayed paper. Just love those colors. There's that sweet little Care Bear page, original book page. There's Monopoly money, the fabric cluster. I love this paper. I think I found this thrifting. It's really heavy duty. Just the coolest paper. Nice writing space. That embroidery book. Here is a cake decorating page, and I actually did find a Care Bear cake. I was looking for them. That was the only one I could find. Second signature, here is that Betty Crocker Kids Cookbook with some trim. Embroidery book. This is really cool. You could always like take a marker and color these in. That's why I like to add a lot of these pages. Oh, I love this wallpaper. It's textured. CareBear page, some stationery, the math page. There's your bear tuck, and then there's the little card that I made or tag. This is, I think, the cover page from this book. Stationery, math book page, and then here is a vintage envelope. This is like a vintage stationery, and then there's all your stickers and your little bear tag in there. CareBear page. Here is the CareBear, or here's the bear pocket. Just love that with the heart and the buttons. And then in here, I just tucked some funness. There's your recipe card. There's a page from the Southern Living Cookbook with some type of flower, painty papers, and just some fun paper from the Dollar Tree. I love this paper, guys. I talk about it all the time, but it's just, I love the texture of it. It makes great tags and just fun stuff for journals. And the colors are just fun. Okay. Embroidery book page, all that color. The CareBear page, and there's the back of the scrapbook paper, and that's the back of this. So this is the fabric, and then I did add another piece of fabric in the inside here because I ran out of that. So that is that one. So once again, there's these two available, the hard covered ones, and then these two. Okay, and then I'm going to quickly flip through this sweet little one too. So this is CareBear, and this one is 9x9. This has 2 signatures, 22 pages with 44 front and backs, total of 44. I love how this one turned out. I think this is my favorite out of all of I don't know. I'm definitely going to make more. I have 3 that I was going to hand paint, and I think I'm going to do a second collection, guys, because I've got strawberry shortcake ones. I'm aiming for July-ish, probably the end of July. I'm going to do strawberry shortcake and strawberry journals. And then I've got some glue books I want to do, and I've got some other projects that I'm working on also. I'm working on the fodder packs. Those will be available either this weekend. I might have a couple rounds of them this weekend and Memorial Day weekend. And then I've got some other things. So the second collection of CareBears, I'll have it probably the end of summer or fall. If these are popular, if you guys have a request for a certain CareBear, you can always message me on Etsy or email me. I love this wallpaper. This is some that I bought from Maddie at Madeline Diet Design. I love this wallpaper book, the metallics. So pretty. Here's some vintage sheet, 2 signatures. There's part of that phonics book, the CareBear cluster, a heart, and I just added so much random scraps of fabric. These are my favorite types of journals. Lace, and this has like a fun mixture too. Here's the fabric pocket. All of these I lined with the same scrapbook paper. It just so happened I had a lot of that and it just worked out. There is the little tag, the party bag, and then this one will have a mixture from all the CareBear books. Same kind of papers, the embroidery book, cookbook page with your fabric cluster, sprayed paper, some more wallpaper, metallic. These pages I had to cut down a little bit to fit in here. Monopoly money. There's the middle of the signature. There's that really pretty trim on the paper clip. Cool, I found CareBear in one of these. There is your bear pocket with some trim, and then here's the recipe card, the Southern Living cookbook page, and then the Dollar Tree paper. And I just sewed that onto the wallpaper. Cookbook page. Here is a scrapbook paper pocket, and I just added this. So yeah, so the hard-covered ones are $19.84. And I just added this page. Just thought this was really cute. So I didn't want to put it in the journal. I didn't know if you wanted to cut this up or use these bears. I just tucked that in there. And then here are some scraps of painty paper. I love this lace I got thrifting. Second signature, here's that really pretty page from the garden book with some trim, fruit. So pretty. Here's part of the scrapbook paper that I used in the covers. The atlas, writing page with a whale tail. Love the bee. So pretty. So you could totally paint or color that embroidery book. Added a bird book page in this one. And then just so happened I had this really cool junk mail envelope that was blue. And then in here are all your stickers and your little bear. Love that. More pretty flowers. Hilarious. And then in this one, I had a bigger little card with a bear. Just added some scraps of Dollar Tree paper. A little cluster. This is from Carrie over at the Paper Monkey. Love that double-sided scrapbook paper. And then here's the vintage sheet pocket. And then in here is some scraps of vintage book pages. And then there's the little tag, and then the cake decorating page. And here's some vintage sheet. There's the lace. So sweet. Such a nice feel of a journal. They're just squishy and fun and pliable. I love it. I love these journals. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this gave you some inspiration. And once again, guys, thank you so much for being here. I hope you find some sunshine today, and I hope you find some creative space to play in your journal. All right, thank you so much. I'll see you real soon.